Hello everyone, I'm back with another video, and in today's video we have a Huawei laptop. This one is a Huawei D14 laptop. The exact model is an Nbl Waq9r. And in this video I'm gonna go over how you can replace the keyboard if you drop some liquid and or some keys are not working, or in this case it is a broken key, and even with that some keys are not working. You can replace it really easy. I'm gonna go over the procedures how to do it. I'll leave the link for a new keyboard that you can purchase. This keyboard, remember, that has a little webcam right in here, so the keyboard will have an empty space right on the bottom. So this is the new keyboard, and I'm gonna go over the tools that I'll be using to do this service. Tool number one is a screwdriver set. I recommend you guys to grab an UFIXTEK screwdriver set, as they have one of the best bits out there. We're gonna be using a fork number T5 in this case for now, and a Phillips number 0. Alright, first thing first, you want to power off the laptop. You want to flip it upside down. Down here you're going to see a whole bunch of screws, and we're going to start removing all the screws. Keep the screws in a separate pile if they're different, so you don't mismatch them. Also, if you guys like my videos and if my videos are helping you guys out, you can support the channel by clicking the like and subscribe. I'll greatly appreciate it. It helps and motivates me to make more videos, take requests, and answer your questions in the comment area. Right. All the screws are the same size and height, so don't worry about mismatching them. So keep them in one pile. Alright, once you remove all the screws, if you get a pro set of the UFIXTEK screwdriver set, they will include you with an opening tool. If not, grab yourself a guitar pick, and metallic guitar picks are really good to opening cases and covers. With this on hand, what we're going to do, we're going to budge the opening tool between the bottom cover and the palm rest, just like that, and we're just going to twist it backward. We're going to stick about 1 or 2 millimeters, not too much, and you're going to work yourself around to the front corner all the way to the front side. You want to hear that click sound. You want to work yourself all around, and the bottom cover should come up pretty easy. So I'm just gonna hold it. There we go. Once I did a few clicks and the whole thing comes out, right? You can even do your own maintenance and clean it up if you want to. Alright, we need to remove everything here. So first thing first, we're gonna switch to a Phillips number 0, and we're gonna remove the battery. To remove one screw right in the middle of the battery, one right over here, and one right all the way to here. So keep those screws again in separate piles. We're gonna disconnect the battery by putting your fingers at the side of the jack in here and lift it up. It just comes up. You can help it out on the back side a little bit here, so it comes up evenly, and that's it. Then you can lift up the battery to put it to one side. You can put the screws near the battery so you know the screws go with them. Grab yourself a tweezers, curved or pointy tweezers. Lift up the jack for the flex cable here. Bring it that way. For the LED lights indicator, lift up the jack from the back. Slide out the flex cable this way. What else do we have here? We're going to remove this gaffer's tape. We're going to put it to one side. Unhook the Wi-Fi cables, bring them up, untangle it around the fan. Alright, bring it all the way to the corner. And there's a power on switch right here, or I don't know what switch is this for. Yeah, I guess it's powered on. Open up the lock and pull the flex cable out. This I/O side too, the jack is on this side. You lift it up, or use your finger, it's very easy to lift up this one. And we're gonna slide it out in a minute. Before that, we're gonna disconnect the fan cable, put the tweezers on the side of the jack and remove it, untangle the little tape. You can put it to one side. The flex cable for the LCD, you need to remove this tape over here. And again, use your fingers to open up the lock and lift up the flex cable. There's a little adhesive on the other side. Lift it up and pull it back. Alright, with this on hand, we need to remove the flex cable for the camera right here. Lift it up. and release that. The fan cable, try to wiggle it around to pull it out. Be gentle with it. Remove the 2 screws for the fan. Alright, put those in one side, grab the fan, put the fan to one side. Now we're gonna remove this I/O port here, so remove the screws on the I/O port. These are really super flat head screws. Once you did that, lift up the port and just slide it up because we already loosened up the jack. You can grab it evenly because it has a little adhesive. You want to pull it up. Has a really hard adhesive on the bottom. Has a little foil tape with an adhesive. So you want to loosen it up like that. Now we're going to remove the motherboard. First, we're going to remove all the screws that touches the motherboard. Starting from one corner. One by the HDMI port, by the power jack, in the corner, and right one flat one really right at the corner here. Now we're gonna put them to one side. You're gonna lift up the motherboard, make sure it is coming up. There's one more right here by the webcam. Now we're gonna lift it up, make sure it's budging. So now there's a backlight cable right here, so unhook this one too. And lift it up. Make sure there's a mouse button right here. I keep forgetting this one. So slide it out and wiggle it around, and it should come out pretty easy. There we go. So there's your motherboard. You want to put the motherboard to one side. You need to remove this battery protector foam right here. Has an adhesive on the bottom. You can lift it up with the adhesive or without the adhesive. But I'm gonna try to lift up the adhesive too. There we go. So put the adhesive right over and pull it out with the adhesive. Be careful with the flex cable right here. You don't want to pull that flex cable, even one right over here. Be very careful. You're gonna put your fingers right there. Be gentle. Pull this one out. Put it to one side. Lift up the speaker. Put the speaker to one side too. You can remove the cable for the speaker, but then you have to tangle it back in. It's not a big deal. Take a picture how you want it. There's a flex goes under the flex cable, but I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna pull up this flex cable gently, bring it to one side. This one too. Okay. Now we're gonna remove this gaffer's tape over here. These are for grounding. You don't actually need them. It's safe. Alright, remove the foam right here. Just pull it out. There's one more foam right back there. Alright, once we remove this one, now we're gonna remove the screws for the hinges. There should be 3 on each side. Alright. And remove the one over here. Okay. So right now we're gonna lift up the hinge. Just bring it up 90 degrees upward, both sides. Alright. Once we have it in 90 degrees, we're gonna scoop out the top cover, bring it out, and there we have it. Now we're gonna put the LCD to one side, and we're gonna work on here. First, we can remove the camera so we don't damage it. To remove the camera, let me see. There's a 1, 2, 3 screws. Go ahead and remove them. Okay, let's see if the camera comes out. You want to be gentle with this one. Don't force it. Put the camera to one side. Now we're gonna work on the bottom plate. I would recommend you guys to remove the power on switch too, so you don't want to damage the flex cable. So go ahead and remove 2 screws for this one. Remove the plate for it. And the power button, you can push it from the other side, but gently. Has a little gummy thing on it, so you want to lift up with the whole adhesive. There we go. So put that one to the side too, so we don't have anything that we can damage. I'll recommend you guys to grab some sort of tape, and we're gonna use this tape to hold the rest of the flex cables out of the way. We could remove this. Let me see, it doesn't touch, so we're gonna bring the one to the side. Put the tape for this one. Bring this one back and tape it down so the flex cables are not on the way. You're gonna grab a towel or workshop sheet, and we need to chisel. You wanna grab the chisel, make sure it's nice and sharp and firm. Now we need to remove this bracket that goes behind the what's called keyboard. Also, if you get a backlight keyboard, it comes with a black and it comes with a 2 cable. My client doesn't want the backlight because it's expensive, so I got the basic one with no backlight, so it has only 1 flex cable. Yours might have 2. Okay, but anyway, so what we need to do, we need to chisel and go and remove all these rivets that is in here. One by one, we need to loosen up these rivets. So you see like that. So we're gonna take our time. We're gonna remove all the rivets all around. Go ahead and do it. So you can't go underneath to pop it open, otherwise you're gonna bend it. So you need to take your time and go ahead and unchisel it. So I probably do this outside. Let me put this one to one side, different angle. Grab the angle that suits yourself. Just go ahead and cut the heads out of the rivets, the plastic rivets. These are not being screwed, so this is the worst thing about this one. Most of the laptops, they have a mesh keyboard that goes from underneath. Any PC laptop is not just Huawei that comes with a mesh keyboard that goes from underneath. These keyboards are used with the rivets. The only keyboard that is not like this is the really old version of the laptops that they can be replaced from the outside without even opening the laptop. But they don't make those anymore because they don't want people to repair their computers or replace them by themselves, so they do this. If you get a MacBook, the MacBooks, they do have any screws instead of rivets, so you can unscrew and screw like 30-40 screws. Then do this. So anyway, so I'm gonna fast forward this part. I'm gonna break all the rivets here, and I'll be back. You need to knock the rivets in the middle too, so there's some in here. So you need to knock all of them out. I'm gonna try to lift it up from here slowly and see which ones I'm left with. Alright, now that we chiseled everything out, we're gonna lift up the bottom plate. This is the supporting plate. We're gonna put that to one side. And down here we have the keyboard. So the keyboard, it is not working anyway, so what we can do here, we're just gonna lift it up from here If you can salvage the LED backlight from here, you can put it on the new one. But sometimes it comes, we tried it in the past. Sometimes that is really hard. They just put it in with lots of glue. Like the adhesive is really tough on it. We're gonna try to remove it and see if we can salvage. The tiny rivets in the corners, we need to pop these ones out. There's one in the middle. So I'm just gonna pull it out slowly. And there we have it. So we have removed the keyboard. Now we're gonna clean up our workplace. So this is a mesh keyboard. This is the reason, because there's a mesh type here. And we're gonna put this to one side for now. We're gonna clean up the workspace and we're gonna continue. All right, now that this is cleaned up, and now we're gonna try to salvage the backlight, and if it's possible. So they do come with a really strong adhesive. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna try to peel it off from one corner and see how it is glued in there. So I'm gonna start on one side. Now we're gonna peel it off. It does look pretty okay. So let's see if we go halfway through how it is gonna be. First we're gonna do the top side. It is getting a little tough right now. There we have it. We need to remove the flex cable, but they do have an adhesive in here. Gently peel it off, peel it back. There we go. And try pulling this backward. Okay. Halfway through here, right here, it gets really hard. So I'm gonna pay more attention to the corners here. I'm pulling it out in 45 degree. I don't want to bend it over. So you just want to peel it off in 45-degree angle. This was pretty easy actually. I see some brands, they put a really hard backlight. So let's put this one to one side. Grab the new keyboard, put a face down. And let's go ahead and clean up this one. Just brush it off. Make sure there's no plastics in the middle. You want to clean those out. Now we're going to sit it over. First concentrate on the webcam portion. And then put the corners down. And then set it down. Pretty easy. So now we did salvage the backlight. So we saved a whole bunch of money just by not buying the one with the backlight. So there we have it. Happy client, save money, and we get to save a little bit of money for the client. All right, we're gonna grab the armrest. We're gonna bring the keyboard. We're gonna set it down, and we want to make sure that it just goes in all the way. Push down the corners. Make sure it goes right through the rivets. Okay. It has to go right through there. Okay. Now what we need to do, we need to grab a hot solder station. We're gonna grab our solder station, and we're gonna just melt quickly over these rivets and just hold it with your finger. Just quickly press down so the whole thing stays in place. So there's your new keyboard right over here. So let's go ahead and get our iron station heat up, and I'll be back. So here I have my TS100 iron station. I'm gonna heat it up about 250 degree. So you don't want too hot neither. So you want to get it up to 300 or 400 Celsius. So you just want to get it a little bit. And we're gonna let it really heats up really quickly. All right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this one to press down on the rivets. Once they're melted, I'm gonna hold it quickly right in the corners, and it's gonna keep the whole keyboard in place. I'm gonna do this all around, and the ones in the middle quickly. So we're gonna verify right now to make sure everything is nice and popped out nicely. So all the keys are popping out from this side. It looks nice and even. So that's perfectly fine. So we're gonna continue and to rivets the ones that we still have to finish. All right, now that we finished most of it, we're gonna grab the bottom plate, the supporting plate, and we're gonna place it right on top. Oh, but before we place it on top, we have to bend over, remove the adhesive on this here. So remove the blue tape. Bring it evenly, pull it all the way forward. Okay. Now we're gonna go ahead and put this shield right over. Make sure the shield it's even. So if any bending on it, just straighten up. Okay, right there. Now we're gonna start doing the same thing over here. If you don't have enough plastic to melt, you can use an PLA for 3D printing rod to over here to melt a little more plastic to hold it in place, and that should be fine. So I'm gonna do it with the whatever I got in here. What I like to use too is like a key from the old keyboard that we don't use anymore. So use an old keyboard key, a space key from an old keyboard, or use your main keyboard. If you can use the one that you have, or just grab any other key from the same plastic, you can use this plastic to melt right over. So I'm gonna continue this, and I'll be back once I finish. All right, now I did all the patching on the holes that are in here. So we're gonna put everything back together. So what we're gonna do first, we're gonna remove this one's over here. And first, let's go ahead and put, no, not this one really. We don't need that too. We need to put this one in first. So pull all these flex cables up. Bring down this foam plate. Align it right there. grab the camera, put the camera right in place, put the screws for the camera. There should be 3 of them. Okay, put the power on switch. The plate for the power on switch. Put the 2 screws that go over the plate. Okay, now that we got most of the stuff down here, you can put this thing back here. I usually don't like to put these ones because over time they dry up and the adhesive is really bad and they can float and they can make a short. So I usually don't put these foams on it. I see many laptops coming because of those things and they do get shortened, and that's a really bad thing. So I rather take them out. You're gonna put the motherboard in place. Sit down the motherboard in its place nicely. Okay, we're gonna grab this sideboard. We're gonna put in the flex cable all the way in. We're gonna lock it down, and then we're gonna set it down right there. And we should put the 3 screws for it to keep it in place. We're gonna put the screws for the motherboard. One flat one right over here. There should be a flat one right by the camera. And right over here. And not this one. I'm not too sure if it was this one or the one by here. Before we put this one in, let's go ahead and put the power on switch right here. And we're gonna put the bottom, the LCD. So squeeze this one right into. Lock it down. Let's grab the LCD. Let's put the LCD right underneath. Move this one over, scoop it down, open it up, scoop it right under. Okay, bring down the hinge. Lock down the hinge. Okay, run the cable. Put the 3 screws on every inch, one on this side and one on the other side. Okay, once we have this one in, now we're gonna go ahead and pop in the speaker on the right side. Open up the lock, squeeze in the flex cable for this one. Squeeze the flex cable for the other side. Put the flex cable for the keyboard all the way in, lock it down. Pretty much we are almost done. Let's put the 3 screws on the motherboard. There should be one right over here, continue. And one right over here. And one more all the way up here. Okay, now we're gonna put the flex cable for the LCD. And lock it down. Grab the fan for the here. And before you put the fan in, I'm gonna zigzag this Wi-Fi cable right in here. It's easier to do it in the air than do it after. So there we go. So put it right under the heatsink beside it. Now, I don't like to stress this flex cable here, so I'm going to pull it back a little bit to give it a little more room when the screen is going to open. So it has a little room to pull. So there we go. That's more than enough. Right there. If you want, you can give it a little more, just in case. Then that's it. Squeeze that flex cable right under the hinge. Leave it there. Continue running the cable. And connect the fan cable right in here. Slide it right to the fan connector. It's kind of hard to get it there, but there you go. Just squeeze it right in there. The speaker cables has to go through right on the same gap. And you want to slide it right into the jack. Let me make sure that there is nothing, no plastic inside the gap. All right, that one is in there. Now we're gonna slam the Wi-Fi cables right there. And we're gonna put the 2 screws for the fan. Once we have this one done, and this one is for the people that you look for the bottom casing, you don't see the cables, so it's nothing extra. That's the gaffer's tape. You want to slide down the battery right under the palm rest, align it, and then you want to squeeze down the connector straight down and put the 3 screws right on the first row on the top side of the battery. And that should be all. Now the last thing is to just grab the bottom cover, bring it over, make sure everything is nice and tucked in. I forgot to plug in the flex cable for the camera, so we need to pull this one out. So yeah, you might want to reopen it and pull it out, or maybe we can do it by just removing 2 screws for the camera and then release the flex cable. So let's remove these ones. I'm trying to do it on rush a little bit, so there we go, we removed it. So we're gonna squeeze this one right through here. There we go. Now we're gonna put the 3 screws for the camera so we don't have to take the whole motherboard out. And there we go. So grab the bottom cover, bring it over, double check everything. Okay. The cables are nice and tucked in. Put the cover on top. Oh, this blue gummy thing that came out is from the speakers on this side. You can squeeze this one in there. There we go. It absorbs the vibration. And put it down, squeeze it down, make sure you hit those tiny clicks on the sides. And that should be all. And the last thing is to switch to your torque bit and put the bottom cover over. And now I don't know if there's any battery juice in it or no. And I'm gonna figure that out in a sec. I'm just gonna put few screws. Again, I hope you guys like this video and helped you guys out. If you have any question or requests, feel free to leave them in a video comment. I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. So let's go ahead and power this thing on. Hopefully I haven't rushed so much. So once you disconnect the battery, it might take up to 5 to 10 seconds for it to boot up. So Don't worry. So I don't know if there's any light indicator on this one. Yep. So there we have the screen, and it's loading up to the Windows. All right. And that will be all for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.